A mural designed to bring them home. This piece of art was unveiled today in Washington, D.C. It features 11 American citizens that the U.S. government says have been wrongfully detained or being held hostage abroad. And joining me now, Scott St. Clair and Christian Castaneda, family members of two of those Americans. Both of them are U.S. military veterans who have been detained in Venezuela. And Scott, let me start with you. You lost contact with your son, Joseph, in November of last year, and only learned in February he'd been detained. First of all, if you want to show us a picture of Joseph on your chest there. All right, there you go. Come on, guys. Camera in. There you go. Okay, perfect. What else do you know about the reason or where he is or anything?
You know, we only know anything about this because of the 6 that came back from Richard Grenell on January 31st. And so from talking with those returnees, we learned that he got somewhere close to the Colombian border trying to visit a family member of a friend and was abducted. And we don't know whether it was military abduction or cartel abduction, but simply that he was grabbed and kidnapped.
And Christian, your brother Wilbert was detained last August. Do you have any idea where he might be?
No, not specifically. We know somewhere in the Caracas region, but not specifically. Last we heard January 31st in a DJCIM facility, which is a military installation. But that was the last detail we got.
And Scott, this mural is a way to raise awareness.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It worked. The mural was painted, and I said, let's get some of these family members here. Are you obviously beyond that? I assume you're working with members of Congress, people in the Trump administration to bring Joseph and the others home.
Yeah, and that event was amazing. We got a great turnout, and that's what we're here for. We're kind of like family members now. We've been here all week, advocating with congressmen on the Hill, on both sides, and we'll be meeting tomorrow with the State Department to discuss prioritization of this issue.
So, Christian, let me just start by saying I don't believe the Venezuelan government, but the Venezuelan government says that your brother was part of a plot to assassinate President Maduro. Now, the U.S. government agrees with me. They say categorically it's not true at all. They consider Wilbert wrongfully detained. What do you make of the accusation, though?
Maduro's known to do this. This isn't his first time doing that. Maduro's known to throw false accusations, sham trials. This is just another one of his many methods, hostage diplomacy that he uses to ease up tensions on his false presidency.
What do you want people to know about your brother?
I want people to know that my brother fought for this country for almost 2 decades, and he's a loving father. He's got 4 small children, and they miss him dearly. And I know that he cares very deeply, about his family being in a great situation. And we're just hopeful that we can bring him home soon, as well as all the other family members we have in Venezuela.
And what do you want people to know about your son?
I want people to know that Joe is a combat veteran, 4 combat tours, a Distinguished Flying Cross recipient. He served his country. He now suffers from PTSD from that service. And we want to know that he's well and alive. We want proof of life, and we want him to come home.
So Rick Grenell did some great work getting those other hostages home. Have you talked to him?
I've not talked to Rick Grenell yet, no.
Okay. Have you?
Have not.
All right. Is there a message? Sometimes President Trump is known to turn on cable TV and see what's going on. I'd love to invite each one of you to speak to the camera and say to President Trump what you'd like to. Let's start with you.
Sure.
Which camera do we? There we go. That one right there.
Yes, President Trump, we've seen what you've done so far in your first 100 days, and you seem to have a priority to bring hostages home, but we need Venezuelan hostages to be a priority. We don't hear enough in the media. We don't hear enough from leaders. We don't hear enough from Congress about this issue. It seems like there's so many times that Venezuela is discussed. It's brought up for many different reasons, and it seems like it would be very easy to say, on top of everything else that we're concerned about, bring those hostages from Venezuela home.
All right, Christian, do you want to look at this one right here?
Absolutely. My message to President Trump, kind of echoing Mr. St. Clair's message, is our families desperately need our American citizens, especially in Venezuela, back home. There's families that every day struggle to cope with thinking of what conditions they're in. And President Trump, we know that you can bring them home.
And he's done a lot of great work doing that, and we certainly, I think they just did some today. Today, there were some hostages who got home.
From Kuwait.
That's correct.
From Kuwait, yeah. I made some amazing work by, I think Adam Bowler did that. So
Yeah.
stay in touch.
Yes.
And we're gonna keep talking about your brother, your son. Really
Thank you
appreciate
so much.
you being here.